Mobile gaming versus console and PC gaming. What's the difference? And why should we be paying attention to the mobile gaming scene? Let's dive into the world of gaming and talk about the experiences and moments we lived through it. Please welcome our guests, Hinds and Mr. Flak. Ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy Papa Capes, and we are back with yet another segment. And this one's going to be quite interesting, because this one is one of my favorites. Why? Because it turns each and every person into a potential gamer. Mobile gaming versus PC and console gaming. And we've got two titans joining us here today, so I'm not only humbled, but also blessed. We've got Mr. Flak and we've got Hinds, and I will ask you please to both briefly introduce yourselves. We'll start out with Mr. Flak and just tell us a bit about who you are.
Hey guys, Mr. Flak, what up? YouTuber, gamer, father, husband, gardener. I like everything gaming. I like everything family and everything life, and glad to be here.
Fantastic, Mr. Hinds.
I guess I'm a professional content creator, but focusing on gaming and tech. And I do a lot of stuff that's above the line, TV, and I used to do a lot of radio, live streams, and YouTube as well. And recently also a dad. So I guess family is a big part. Actually, family is a huge part of my life right now. It always is, right? But it takes up a massive chunk of your energy, and it becomes a big part of who you are.
It's kind of awesome. It's the first segment that I'm on where all three of us are dads. So that's kind of dope.
Let's talk about gaming dads. This is the podcast theme that you should have.
I think that's awesome.
Let's talk about dads.
Yeah, a lot of the free time
I'm spending $5,000 this week to soundproof the store in the studio because of our child. The initial quote I got was 50,000 Rand, and I considered it. That's how much of a dad I am. Dad gamers.
Facts. Dad gamers spend more time in the toilet with their mobile devices, playing stuff like Clash of Clans, Candy Crush. I confess. I'm a bit.
Clash Royale.
Yeah, there we go. So that's what I touched on now, right? Mobile gaming versus PC and console gaming. Some might call it traditional gaming versus your newly added, your newly enhanced mobile gaming. Gaming has just become so much more accessible recently with the addition of your mobile gaming. So if you guys wouldn't mind diving into a bit of the evolution and also the accessibility, like from my side, I remember the Nokia 3310 with like Snake and Space Impact. But that experience might be different for so many people. So yeah, Grant, we'll start with you. If you could just touch on like your take on the evolution and the accessibility and the type of games that you've encountered on mobile specifically.
Like, I love it. Obviously, my first games were, I agree with you, was Snake, and I'm sure we all three of us, because we're all dads in this room, have the similar experience. But I think, they were never taken seriously when we started playing those games, because they were kind of things that you passed the time with. They were terrible to play in the grand scheme of things. We had much better, we were playing CS 1.6 at the same time. So just to give you an idea of like the same time that like Snake came out. So that was the comparison. But that difference has changed dramatically over the last couple of years. I've still got friends who scoff at the idea of using a touch screen. And also inputs. Those were buttons. They were left, right, up and down. Now we have touch inputs with like really high hertz, so that you can your input hertz is designed for gaming. And then obviously your display hertz as well is also designed for gaming. So your touch feedback and your display feedback, these devices aren't just phones anymore. These devices are literally designed with gaming as a prominent, these S23 Ultras. I know Flak's also got water cooling in them. This has got vapor chambers. We've managed to squash PCs down to this size, and it's only going to become more prevalent unless the world collapses, of global warming, which is.
No, perfect. And Flak, from your side.
I am a big mobile gamer, and I don't mean in just the context of like Android. I mean like Game Boys, PSP Vitas. I was always mobile. I love the idea of mobile gaming because I don't want to be bored. So I always want to have a gaming device. And it's funny that Grant mentioned the S23 Ultra. I've got one too, like you mentioned, and they are so powerful now. I bought on launch day many years ago the PSP, the original PSP.
I remember.
And it was groundbreaking. Just the graphical ability of it. And that is probably about 5% as strong as a flagship phone nowadays. The level of technology and the level of
Wow, eh?
it is nuts, Grant. It's so weird because now we are getting quality that is PlayStation 4, like 4 or 5 level. We're getting PC game level on mobile devices.
Mhm.
And you don't even have to buy a premium like Samsung. You can get a cheaper, like a Xiaomi or something that's just as strong. And you can get gaming for 1,000 Rand, 2,000 Rand now. So currently, people are very, very lucky compared to what we had back in the day.
It works both ways, right? So it's not just the hardware that's getting better. We got developers like Epic that are making Fortnite with the idea that mobile is one of the primary platforms.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So the game engines for Unreal Engine 5, one of their primary game engines that we use to play video games, considers mobile devices as one of the primary
100%.
ways to play with that engine.
It's
so
crazy.
So we're getting it from both ways. Like it's
Very lucky. We are very lucky.
We
What a
are the
time to be alive.
generation that's lucky with this. I mean, that highlights the ubiquity of smartphones, allowing gaming to become so accessible to billions of people across the world. I mean, 10, 12, 15 years ago, you wouldn't have thought that it would be this accessible.
Unthinkable.
I can remember one friend that had a console that we would then have to all go and visit on weekends
Yeah.
and then go play a FIFA tournament on his couch. But now everybody can holler on their phone that everybody's got access to because we live off of these things and they can
And
dive
actual
into a game.
multiplayer.
100%.
Actual multiplayer. That's
Full access
bizarre.
to multiplayer. Like there's even games that have obviously the developers started on mobile and then ported it over to make it accessible on PC and vice versa. PC games that are now more successful on the mobile variant. So it's crazy. One thing that comes up for me personally, and I know tons of people, even some that I've spoken to in a previous segment today, is when you think mobile gaming, it goes hand in hand with monetization and microtransaction and in-app purchases. So I just wanted to find out, what's your take on how obviously mobile gamings might typically monetize a bit more than on your traditional platforms? We'll go with you first, Flak.
I hate monetization of games. I hate pay to win. I hate the idea of it's very predatory to bait people. They give you this fun little game, they put it in the hands of kids, and then they dangle this. You could get the really strong guy, or you could play the normal game. So I think it's very predatory. And I mean, I had friends that have spent thousands of rands on mobile games. You know, it's such a cutesy little game. Oh, if I just put in $100, I get a couple extra diamonds, blah, blah, blah. And then they end up, it's a form of addiction. You'll find that a lot of mobile games that monetize have very gambling-esque tendencies. A lot of bright lights, a lot of bright sounds, very tempting thing. And I cannot stand any form of monetization. That's why I like Clash Royale, because it is a game that you can, for example, get through without spending a cent. Even though there is heavy monetization temptations, it's you can get by without spending. But there are games that basically make the game unplayable unless you spend.
100%.
And I think it's disgusting. I can't stand it.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't realize that these development studios hire actuarial scientists and they work out like a graph. So they can do revenue projection based on how people play those games and when is the best time to bait somebody or when is the best time to send them a notification where they're more susceptible
to launch a special,
making a purchase or like they might realize 10 p.m. at night most people are more susceptible to make a purchase because they're chilled out or whatever the case is. And so they will then send notifications to users around that time. So it is very predatory by design. But it's solving a problem that mobile games have, and that is that hand in hand with accessibility, you need affordability because accessibility is also a financial consideration. So a lot of people want to be able to play games, but we have a culture on our side of that grew up playing console games of paying anywhere between 500 and 2,000 Rand for a game once off. And in some cases, people do it annually, like Call of Duty and FIFAs. People, I paid $1,000 now for Baldur's Gate. You know, that's a huge expense for somebody who's buying a game on a phone. And even us as people who play mobile games, if I ask you, would you pay 1,000 Rand for a game and you fine?
No.
Would you do it?
Instantly, that's a no from me.
You see, and that's a problem because the culture that we have buying those games means that those studios still need to make money. The other side of the coin that I really hate, and I was at BlizzCon in 2019, I was very fortunate to be there, and I sat on a panel with the Hearthstone team. Sat in on a panel, not with them. And I asked them the question, like, when are you going to make this an offline experience? Because a lot of the gaming that I'm doing requires data, and I want to be offline because I want to be on a plane for like 9 hours, or you want to be on a car ride. And they said there's no chance of that ever happening because of the way it's built. And the reason is that it's a monetary thing. They want they want you to buy things. Same with Diablo 4. It's the same thing. You have to constantly be online with these micro purchases. So no longer are there the days of all these huge games where you can just put down like $500 and download a game and just play it offline, and like a GTA type game. A GTA on a phone is an amazing experience. That is what I want to see more of, like Flak was saying. I just wish they would do that, because it's constantly monitoring. And when they're not taking your money, they're taking your information. They're taking your patterns of play. They're taking all the data that the phone is collecting about you're connecting it to all these other platforms, and they resell that data. So they're making money off of you as a player, even when you're not spending. And you have to agree to those conditions before you even start playing a free-to-play game. So nothing is free, unfortunately.
I think what you've touched on now kind of segues perfectly into the last topic just before we go into a break, is that with how mobile gaming has evolved, when I ask you about what do you think the future of mobile gaming has in store for us, are there drawbacks to its convenience and accessibility and the methodology that goes with mobile gaming? In your opinion, obviously. Because we could go with you, Flak. We can go with you.
I'm going to have to ask you to rephrase, because I kind of zoned out there. I'm like, I'm sorry.
So with the evolution of mobile gaming, right? What do you think the future has in store for mobile gaming specifically? And could there potentially be drawbacks with how convenient and accessible it is?
It's hard to say where gaming's going right now, because I feel like we're on a technological cusp. I mentioned we basically have the same power in our phones now that we had in gaming computers from 2017. So there's no real limitation. I know there's cross plays with PC and console. I do feel that the future would have cross play with PC, console, and mobile. I feel like mobile is going to get roped into that space, like Fortnite, for example, perfect example. And places like or technologies like Google Stadia even collapsed, but the concept of because our internet has never been faster, our accessibility to high-speed internet has never been faster, and I feel like there's going to be an entry point in any device where you can connect to a powerful server and game online. I do feel like online gaming is going to merge mobile, console, PC to one gigantic spectrum where everybody could just enter with a high-speed connection. I think more crossplay, more grouping together of to get more players into the same pool. That's what I think.
To answer the other part of the question, which I agree with Flak 100%, but to answer the other part of the question is the drawbacks. We have to like step a little bit outside of all these amazing things that are happening. And one of the problems that we have, I think in gaming in general, is that and this is, I'm just going to wax a little lyrical right now, but gaming is made in a capitalist ecosystem. And the problem with a capitalist ecosystem with shareholders is that they're not interested in making a good game. They're interested in making a game that's going to generate the most profit. And that has become, I've seen it. I've chatted to game developers who are making NFT games. And then they were like trying to explain to me this game. They sat down, I had a meeting with them. And then I said, but what's the game? They're like, but we can procedurally generate all these skins. And people go, I was like, but what's the game? What are people actually playing? But they couldn't even say that. They couldn't even tell me if the game was fun. And that's the problem with the ecosystem. You're going to have like a bunch of people in the team that are great game developers who are making fun games. But at the end of the day, fun games doesn't draw the line for a lot of people, unless you're like an indie developer who's not worried about money. Video games is a business. It's the biggest entertainment industry on the planet. Yeah. And that's a great thing for us who are in the business of video games. Yeah. Like all of us are sitting around this table. But at the end of the day, there's drawbacks to that in the current economic ecosystem where people have shareholders, Bravada's got shareholders, YouTube has got shareholders, everybody that we work for, and they're not necessarily interested in how entertaining a game is or how if that game like changes the course of history, like Spec Ops: The Line, great game, but those games don't get sequels. They don't get enough marketing behind them. The ecosystem is about how much money can they generate, and unfortunately, predatory ways of generating money make more money. So unless there's like legislation or people preventing, like the in Europe they're preventing Overwatch from doing the loot crates. That was why Overwatch, I think, is the biggest reason Overwatch 2 existed, is they had to change the way that people spent money in the game. And the battle pass system is it was a very cool solution to the problem. But again, like Mr. Flak was saying, it's going to get worse.
Yeah.
It's going to be, we can make more money. The more information they have about us, the more money they can eke out of us, the more they can get us looped into the game with these like really easy dopamine tricks, like get 5 headshots in a row, and the problem is it's designed to trigger things in our brain that make us spend more money. And I think that I have a very bleak outlook in some senses, because if we don't address that, and people don't want to talk about economics when it comes to games and the economic system we're in, because they don't want to do that or address it. See, we made the economic system that we're in. We can redesign it. We can make it whatever we want. Yep. But the thing is, we've made that the most important part of the game, and that's a problem. What's the most important part of the game is how fun it is and how much joy it brings you. That's what gaming does for us. That's why we love the space. But when they start to exploit that joy, which they will, that's when it gets dangerous.
100%. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're about to go into a break. But as Mr. Flak has said, and as Grant Hinds have said, I think we can all agree that gaming at its core should always be fun. That should be why you want to play the games. When we get back, we're going to touch a bit more on console and PC gaming and the pros and cons of them both. We'll see you in a bit. Peace!
It's inside. Why did I say rapper?
That's why I'm laughing! What the f***?
It was because when he said like this, I was thinking rap up.
Yeah, he's like, I'm like, finish up, stop talking.
Yeah, so then I was like, fuck.
What's your profanity?
Slowly, I play for the Bravado gaming team, especially Counter-Strike, because that was such a teams.
Are you sure about that?
This is 60 seconds, bro. Okay. Less than 60 seconds.
Like 6. 45 seconds to take off my clothes.
You get 60 seconds in.
Am I smiling or do I look upset? No, that's okay, because sometimes I can't tell, bro. And then I watch a video, I'm like, yes, why do I look like? An abundance of players in many different esports divisions. You need to be able to understand the people that you are playing against. And without further ado, let's take a little deeper dive into what this beautiful monstrosity of a... Okay.
Woo! So sustainability, basically you want to grow the organization as well as... I've literally got this, I literally had to learn this for my exam on Tuesday.
Intel continues to innovate year on year. Wait.
I thought you were going to end it on that. I was like, okay, well, I'm right at least.
Okay.
Nice. All pounding. Usually doggy style.
Jeez, like. I mean, hey, if you insist.
What did he say?
If I know the right person, I can get 3 golfs. The price.
My dog.
Hello, how are you? Fuck, this dude's smiling at me. I can literally see you smiling at me. It's so weird.
Okay, so you want angry at him? You want me?
No. I'm literally about to introduce him. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back and we are continuing the segment of mobile gaming versus console and PC gaming, which collectively could be seen as traditional gaming. We are back with Mr. Flak and Grant Hinds, and so far it has been absolutely insightful, informative, and also comprehensive. So my first topic that I'd like to discuss is, I'd like to place emphasis on the amount of focus in the competitive scene that players who earn the big bucks and players who show the best skill on PCs and not consoles. And on the surface, there's multiple reasons. But we can also say that there is a quote-unquote hypothetical beef between console gamers and PC gamers. Oh no, you've got aim assist. Oh, but you've got 240 hertz. Like, can we just dive into this a little bit more? We can start off with you, Grant. Anything like from your perspective that you've encountered personally, maybe, and your take on these things?
I mean, yeah, I've been to COD champs, and like that's all console, like at the time, and there was a lot of talk about that kind of stuff. I think that it's stupid. It's people with the same goal that are fighting against each other, which is silly. And also, there's a whole generation of people growing up that haven't touched a mouse and keyboard the way we did. The problem is that, yeah, you were saying like there's the Formula One of gaming is going to always be PC because that's the tip of the spear. But it's the same thing. You spend a lot of money. People aren't driving F1 cars around the streets.
Yep.
But the Destruction Derby or the NASCAR or the GT of the normal of people that actually drive cars, the Kylamis of the world, those are going to be consoles because they're accessible, they're affordable, and they're very powerful. Flak was saying it earlier. Like they're like really, really powerful. They're like 120 hertz on the top of the top end. And like there's nothing to scoff about. It's just input that's different generally. Speaking, and then obviously some things to compensate for games that were developed as first-person shooters and moved over. But games like, Dota and League of Legends, you can't play that on a console just yet. But I think how people input is irrelevant. It's about the sports, the competitiveness, the spirit behind it. And I think that's what makes an esport.
Cool. Flak, would you like to add anything onto that?
No, not really. Basically what Grant said, it's just a different input. And I used to be, like a PC purist and shit on console guys all the time. Oh, you got aim assist. That's why you killed me.
Yeah.
No, I'm just shit. Because I can use my whole arm to aim. Trust me, I'm shit. But the thing is, it all boils down, I feel like, to budget. PC gaming is just way, way, way more expensive. Like Ron said, it's inaccessible. It's very complicated to build. It requires so much more. And to be honest, sometimes the convenience of a console makes sense.
Yeah.
You got it plugged into the same TV that you watch TV on. You just push a button and you play. But PC gaming, there's drivers, there's updates. Yeah. It's a way more complicated affair. Sure, I can, aim way better and I can absolutely shit on a console guy if I need to. But at the end of the day, it's a convenience and a money thing. And after a hard day of working on my computer, I don't want to sit by a computer. Sure. Sometimes I want to lay, just hold my thing here, have a good time. So for me personally, I use consoles as a relaxation tool. And I use PC gaming as a competitive means. I feel like consoles are a little bit more casual. But some of the best players in the world, like Ron said in COD, have been on controller. So it really just depends on how you were brought up, what your budget's like, that type of thing.
Hundreds. Yeah, from my side, like I said earlier, like we got introduced to gaming, console. And we've got a big family, lots of friends, and it was couch tournaments of FIFA. There would be 3 or 4 consoles, and everybody would be rotating, or Street Fighter, exactly, or Tekken, or Soul Calibur back in the day. And you'd have a multi-tap. You'd have a multi-tap that you could plug in, and then you could have more people playing at the same time. Athens Olympics, London Olympics. And I mean, these were before online became a thing, but we could still have this multiplayer experience. And we then established that PC gamers have been doing this for years with Half-Life and Quake 3 Arena, and they just had like a hub and they would LAN. And I was like, what's LAN? L-A-N. I had to learn all of these things. So I moved from console to PC, and I can't imagine playing an FPS on a controller ever again. I simply cannot personally.
I recently... Oh, you go ahead, Grant.
Go for it. Go for it, Flak.
Okay. Asus recently sent me a ROG Ally, which is a gaming PC, but in a handheld form. And I've been trying to play the games that I play on keyboard and mouse, like Apex Legends.
Yeah.
And I cannot aim on a controller. I have so much respect for controller gamers. I cannot play it. And crazy. I grew up with a console. I grew up on controller. And modern FPS games on controller is harder. I don't care what anyone says. It is disgustingly hard. You have that much movement and aim and ability. I need a keyboard and mouse.
I agree.
So respect to the console boys.
No, I'm gonna argue something here.
Ooh.
I think that modern FPS games are much better. I think the hard part was getting like a game like Call of Duty that was kind of made for a console and then make it into an FPS for PC and then for people to play together. I think that's like the challenge now where the aim assist comes in.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember a game called Black on PS2?
That was my best PS2 game. It was like a hardcore army, Black Ops, Black Hawk Down vibes. Crazy.
Okay, let's go back. Do you remember a game
too
called
poor
Life
for
Force
PS2.
Tanker?
Ooh. Life Force Tanker.
Yeah. Do you remember a game called Life Force Tanker on the PS1?
Bro, how old are you?
No.
Jesus, I'm ancient. So the PS1 came with a demo disc when you bought it, the original one, and it was called. One of the games was called Life Force Tanker to like show off how it was. But it was an FPS, but there were no analogs with the original PlayStation 1.
Oh wow!
You had to turn with the L1 and the L1 and L2 R1. But I remember playing that. And I was like, I am never ever playing an FPS game on a console. This is stupid. I don't know why they did this. Waste of time. And then I kept that theory all the way up till Black. And I remember putting Black in my PS2. It had analog sticks, and I was like, this game I will never play. This is so dumb. I finished it in a week. And then I started it again. But the whole time I was like, this is stupid. But like I enjoyed the crap out of that game. And that was the first time when I actually was like objective with myself because I had such a like religious stance on never playing an FPS on a console because of Life Force Tanker. I was just like, you know what? If a game is made with console in mind, it could work. And that's when I started, I got an Xbox 360 later and I got to play Call of Duty 4. And that blew me away. And that was when I couldn't play an FPS unless it was on a controller. But also like I'm playing a cuck ton of Valorant right now. So like, no. But like Flak, like I agree with you, but I think part of me is like, if a game is designed from the ground up for a specific medium, it's harder when that game is cross-platform. I've always found that. Like, so playing an FPS, like I'm sure, what's Starfield? I'm sure that's a little bit like challenging on console compared to PC for me because there's like inventory, and it's like they have to solve all these problems as developers. Like, how do I manage an inventory with an analog stick? You see it kind of with the new like Assassin's Creeds. They like started making them for PC, and then they had that like stupid like cursor that you move around. And why do that? Don't do that on a console. Just make it a block that moves between things. But I see that with like the design intentionality with these things. Sometimes they're cuck, but like Apex, like you were saying, I can never ever play Apex on a freaking controller. Like these kids, or even the ROG. How are the ROG's analogs?
Oh, phenomenal! It feels great.
crazy.
It feels like a PlayStation controller.
Oh wow, okay, cool. That's really cool.
Cool. So like that touches on like the last thing before we have to come to an end. I mean, this is something we could all talk about for ages and ages and ages, I feel. But one thing that I recently experienced is that there's communities. There's literally communities that are like on console, so PlayStation, but they'll beef with Xbox. Xbox will beef with the fact that you've got a console, like a PlayStation console. Then you get people that are like PC Master Race that hate anybody with Xbox and console. Like, is that a thing in the mobile gaming community as well? They're like, no, we've got our phones. You guys all suck. Will it become a thing? Like, I only recently encountered this beef that actually existed.
Grant, you want to take it?
No, you go for it.
It's funny though, because I've always been a bit of a classist, a bit of a, PC Nazi, if you want to call it that. And obviously after growing up a bit and, realizing that things aren't that serious, I really hope there's not going to be some kind of a weird like console beef war type of situation when it comes to mobile. But I already watched I did a hosted event for a PUBG mobile tournament. And there's already like iPhone users versus Samsung users that are like, your phone's, you're poor, you use the Samsung, we use iPhone, even though like the Samsungs are more expensive than the iPhones. But there was actual beef when it came to manufacturer of phone. what are you going
Yes,
to
it's
do?
always
There's
gonna
always
be
just
a
going to
thing.
be. It's always going to be a thing, and you know what the hard part is that in the world, some people have more money than others, and some
Yep.
people have more lenient parents. There's always going to be somebody, and the whole thing of mobile PC it's the spirit of gaming, bro. People just need to like uplift each other and not worry about being better than and flexing. It doesn't matter. Just have fun. The more the merrier. Let's be honest. The
Yes,
game
sir.
dies when they don't have enough players.
100%.
So the sooner we can get more people on there, your favorite games just live longer.
Yep.
Yeah,
agree
I think it's
completely.
also a sunk cost issue. It's like people spend like 10 grand on they make a decision, like a conscious decision to spend 10 grand on like a Xbox. And then they find out their friend did the same thing, but with a PlayStation. And then it's kind of like they did something wrong. So to double back on their decision to make themselves feel better, they'll go like, no.
Let's start a beef.
These are the reasons games pass. Da, 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 da.
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
know what? Like Flak was saying, like it's about fun. Like video games. Whenever I get like people like taking dumps on reviews and stuff, and like getting like serious, I go like, guys, we're in the video games business. This is the business of fun. If you're not having fun, or if this whole thing isn't fun, you're doing something wrong. The games that I used to play as a kid, like Pandemonium and whatever, they got terrible reviews, but they like made my Saturdays.
Yep.
Like
Yeah.
I didn't care what a journalist thought about that game.
Yeah.
Like I don't like who's reviewing Dota. Like I don't care. I'm having fun with my friends, and that's what I care about. There is a lot, and this is my little pedestal to the South African like competitive gaming community. Just like everybody is extremely toxic. It's a very toxic gaming environment, and they kind of pride themselves in it. And I think toxicity in competitive gaming starts because it's competitive. Like
Yep.
we have beef with one another. Like we want to like show each other up. But think about this. What you have beef with somebody over is like cartoon characters in a shooting game, like on your PC. Calm down. Have fun.
100%.
Like you like if I remember I used to play Sunday soccer like on a field like when I was like in varsity, and two guys came in and they made their whole thing as serious as they could. They got angry with people. They like I
Those
didn't want to play
ones.
anymore.
Try hard.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's hard, but it's
The
also
sweats.
like we're not UEFA Champions League here.
Yeah.
I didn't come here. Like I'm not playing like MLG on a Friday night with my
100%.
friends. Like I'm having fun. I'm playing Rocket League with my chums because the things you're going to remember about, and I'm talking to kids now that are toxic and like 18, high school, like and like early 20s. The things you're going to remember from playing games is not how many games you won. It's going to be the times and the relationships and the friends that you make.
100%.
And it's with all of us, we're all oppas in this room here talking. We're all dads. Like,
Speak for yourself, bro.
like those are the things that made video. It's why we're excited to be here.
Facts.
It's the friendships and the camaraderie and the meaning, the things that make life meaningful along the way. Playing with my daughter, you like beefing with somebody on Twitter or like taking a dunk on like other people online because they were in another clan or whatever. It's like you won't remember that, and you'll be ashamed if you do. Those aren't
Yeah.
the good parts of this.
No, 100%. That's crazy. Like to just in closing, my last comment was going to be about exactly what both of you touched on without me having to say anything. It's that it's
Like
not
our minds are
about,
becoming one.
yeah, it's not about like what's more superior, what's less superior. I preach this every single day. There's unity and diversity. Whether that diversity comes from the platform of your choice, the community, whether Steam, whether Xbox, whether Battle.net, regardless of what it is. If at its core of what you want to do is fun, vibe, it's that simple. So yeah, you've been here with me today with Mr. Flak and Grand Hinds. It has been absolutely exceptional. I've learned, and I am old. So you can teach an old dog new tricks. I will see you guys for the next segment. Take it easy. Peace out. Now that was an awesome conversation. Thank you again to our guests, Grant and Mr. Flak, for their time. Do not miss the next episode of The Round Table.